All right, let's talk about a problem I bet you've seen before. Your warehouse is packed to the gills, right? But somehow, you still can't find that one thing a customer is actually trying to buy. It's maddening. Well, that's what we call the inventory paradox. And today, we are going to break down exactly how to master it. And this quote, wow, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Because look, from your customer's point of view, it is incredibly simple. Do you have their item or don't you? That's it. All that other stuff you've got piled up in the warehouse, to them, it's just noise. And if you get this wrong, you're not just losing one sale. Nope. You're losing their trust. And that is way, way harder to get back. So, this leads us to what some people call the empty shelf paradox. And it really does sound like a contradiction, right? How can you possibly have too much and too little at the exact same time? Well, it's that classic trap. Your shelves are overflowing with stuff nobody seems to want, while the things people are clamoring for are always, always sold out. They seem like opposite problems, but really, they're two sides of the exact same coin. Think of it like a two-headed monster attacking your business. On one side, you've got stockouts, and that pain is immediate, right? You lose a sale right there on the spot, you tick off a customer, you create delays, it's obvious. But the other head, overstock, that's the silent killer. It's quietly tying up your cash in stuff that's just gathering dust. It's eating up your precious warehouse space. And worst of all, it's just waiting to become worthless, completely obsolete. Trust me, both heads are equally dangerous. So you might be asking, how on earth do companies get stuck in this mess? Well, here's the thing. These problems don't just pop up out of the blue. They actually feed on each other, creating this nasty, vicious cycle that can spiral out of control before you even know what's happening. So let's dig into some of those root causes. And take a look at this list. What's crazy is how they're all connected. It's like a domino effect. It often starts with simple guesswork, right? You're ordering stuff without looking at any real data. And because you're guessing, you have no idea how to classify your SKUs, your individual products. That means you don't set the right reorder points. Then maybe you forget that your supplier takes forever to deliver, and bam, before you know it, you're stocked out of your bestseller. See? It's a chain reaction where a bunch of small mistakes add up to one giant headache. Okay, I know. It sounds like a total tangled mess. And you're probably thinking, where do I even start to unravel this? But here's the good news. You don't have to fix everything overnight. You just need to start with a few really powerful, immediate actions to get things back on track. So let's think about this next part as your inventory first aid kit. This is triage. These are the quick wins, the simple, practical steps you can take right now to stop the bleeding and just stabilize the patient, so to speak. And the first tool you're going to pull out of that kit is something called ABC analysis. It's basically the 80-20 rule applied to your stock. Check this out. It usually turns out that about 20% of your items, we'll call those your A items, are actually responsible for 80% of your revenue. The biggest takeaway here? Not all your stock is created equal, not even close. You need to put all your focus on those A items. So for those VIP products, those A items, here is your immediate action plan. First, you set actual data-driven reorder points. No more guessing. Second, if you've got a supplier who's, let's say, a little unreliable, you bump up your safety stock. That's your buffer, your just-in-case pile. Third, at the exact same time, you find your worst sellers, your C items, and you put a freeze on buying any more of them. And finally, you have to be able to see what's going on. A simple weekly dashboard can be a total game changer. Okay, great. The first aid kit worked, the bleeding has stopped, the patient is stable, but you can't live on emergency measures forever, right? Now it's time to move past the triage stage and actually build a resilient long-term system. We're going for the full cure. And to build that system, we're going to add another layer of smarts. We already used ABC analysis to sort items by their value. Now we're going to add something called XYZ analysis. This sorts them by how predictable their demand is. So X items have super stable, predictable demand. Z items, their demand is all over the place. Now, when you combine these two, that's where the magic happens. You can see, for example, that you need a lot more safety stock for a high-value but totally unpredictable item, what we'd call an AZ item. See how powerful that is? So what are the keys to making this system last? It really comes down to two things: discipline and technology. It means using real data to forecast, not your gut feeling. It means actually working with your suppliers, sharing data so they can help you out. It means regularly cleaning house, what we call SKU rationalization, which is just a fancy way of saying you get rid of the products that aren't making you money. And finally, you gotta let automation be your friend. Use your systems to handle reorders automatically. It cuts out so many mistakes. Okay, so that's all the theory, but how does this stuff actually play out in the real world when things are on fire and your boss is breathing down your neck? Let's switch gears and turn this into a super practical playbook for any manager who's facing these exact problems right now. All right, scenario number 1. This is a classic. You are constantly running out of your best-selling products. Your customers are furious. The team is starting to panic. What is the absolute first thing you do? Your one and only priority is to stabilize your most important products right now. So you immediately run that ABC analysis to find your A items. Then, for only those items, you calculate and set proper reorder points, and you beef up the safety stock. And to make sure you can trust your numbers, you start doing daily or at least weekly physical counts for just those few critical products. Focus is key. And why does this work so incredibly fast? It's simple. By laser focusing on that top 20% of your items, you are solving the problem for the vast majority of your customers. You're tackling the biggest pain point first, and that gives you an immediate, visible boost in customer service. Okay, let's flip the script. Problem number 2. The warehouse is so full you can barely walk through it. Your cash flow is squeezed, and you are literally drowning in products that will not sell. Where do you even begin to dig yourself out? The playbook here is just as direct and just as urgent. Step 1. Hunt down your slowest moving items, your C items that have been sitting there for months. Step 2, and this is crucial, stop reordering them. Immediately. Full stop. Then you get aggressive. Run promotions, slash prices, do whatever it takes to turn that dead stock back into cash. And the last step? You get sales and purchasing in the same room and you formally decide which products you're going to cut for good. And talk about a win-win. Not only are you freeing up a ton of cash that was literally just sitting on a shelf, but you're also clearing out precious physical space for the products that actually make you money, your A items. It's a no-brainer. All right, this is the big one. The most important question of all. We've put out the immediate fires. Now, how do we fireproof the whole building? How do we build a system that's so disciplined, so robust, that stockouts and Overstock never become a 5-alarm fire ever again? This is where it all comes together. This is the blueprint. You build your system on that powerful ABC/XYZ combo for really smart, nuanced control over your inventory. You automate as much as you can, especially replenishment, to get human error out of the picture. Then you build in a rhythm of discipline. You review your suppliers quarterly. You review your product line every year. And finally, you watch it all like a hawk, with a few key metrics, a few KPIs, to make sure you're always on track. So what's the bottom line here? Look, a really well-designed system isn't about making a choice between happy customers and a healthy bank account. It's about building structured controls that give you both. It is the ultimate balancing act, amazing customer service on one side and rock-solid financial performance on the other. And that brings me to the one final thought I want to leave you with. Take a hard look at your own operation, at your own warehouse, and ask yourself this one simple question. Right now, is your inventory an asset that's creating value for your company? Or is it a liability that's slowly draining you dry? The answer to that question changes everything. Thanks for joining me.